Louis Gossett Jr. wasn't just an actor. He was a trailblazer who broke barriers in Hollywood with undeniable talent, resilience, and a powerful presence. From his Broadway debut as a teenager to his historic Oscar win, he paved the way for black actors in an industry that often overlooked them. But behind the awards and iconic roles was a man who faced deep struggles, fighting racial bias, health challenges, and the uphill battle for lasting recognition. This is the story of a true Hollywood pioneer, a man whose legacy will forever be etched in film history. Louis Gossett Jr. was born Louis Cameron Gossett Jr. on May 27, 1936 in Brooklyn, New York. He was the only child of Helen Rebecca and Louis Gossett Sr., who provided him with a modest but nurturing upbringing. His mother, Helen, was a dedicated nurse, balancing long hours of work with her role as a caregiver at home, instilling in her son values of discipline, compassion, and resilience. His father, Louis Sr., took on various jobs to support the family, embodying the perseverance that would later become a defining trait of his son's character. Despite financial hardships and the societal barriers of the time, both parents placed a strong emphasis on education and self-improvement, encouraging young Louis to strive for excellence. Growing up in Brooklyn during the 1940s and 1950s, Gossett was exposed to both the cultural richness of the city and the harsh realities of segregation. His neighborhood was a melting pot of different ethnicities and backgrounds, fostering a strong sense of community that influenced his perspective on life. While racial inequality was an ever-present challenge, his parents instilled in him a belief in his own potential, motivating him to rise above discrimination and make the most of every opportunity. As a child, Gossett developed an interest in both sports and the arts. He was an athletic young man with a natural talent for basketball, standing at an impressive 6 feet 1 inch, 1.85 meters tall. His skills on the court earned him the attention of coaches, and he was later offered a chance to play varsity basketball at New York University. However, his journey took an unexpected turn when a sports injury forced him to reconsider his path. Around the same time, he contracted polio, which delayed his high school graduation. Instead of succumbing to these setbacks, he redirected his focus toward acting, a passion that had been growing within him. Encouraged by a high school teacher who recognized his potential, Gossett auditioned for a Broadway role. At just 17 years old, he landed a leading part in Take a Giant Step, a critically acclaimed play that was named one of the New York Times' top 10 shows of the year. His performance not only marked the beginning of his acting career, but also demonstrated his ability to captivate audiences with his presence and emotional depth. In an era when opportunities for black actors were severely limited, his success on Broadway was a testament to both his immense talent and his unwavering determination. Louis Gossett Jr.'s acting career began at an early age when he was encouraged to audition for Broadway while still in high school. In 1953, at just 17 years old, he beat out 200 other actors to land the lead role in Take a Giant Step, a critically acclaimed play that was named one of the New York Times Drama Critics' top 10 shows of the year. His success on Broadway marked an extraordinary achievement for a young black actor in the 1950s, a time when opportunities for African Americans in the entertainment industry were still scarce. The stage became a place where he could fully express himself, showcasing a talent that was undeniable and earning him recognition as one of the most promising young performers of his generation. His reputation continued to grow with a pivotal role in A Raisin in the Sun in 1959, where he played opposite Sidney Poitier and Ruby Dee. The play was a groundbreaking portrayal of black family life in America, exploring themes of racial injustice and economic struggles. Gossett reprised his role in the 1961 film adaptation, further solidifying his place in the industry. That same year, he starred in The Blacks, an off-Broadway play that ran for an unprecedented 1,400 performances, sharing the stage with James Earl Jones, Cicely Tyson, and Maya Angelou. Gossett was part of a new wave of black actors pushing boundaries and breaking stereotypes in theater. His ability to command the stage and bring depth to his characters made him a sought-after talent, but the transition to film and television would not be without challenges. In the 1960s, Hollywood remained resistant to fully embracing black actors in leading roles. Despite his success on Broadway, Gossett often found himself navigating an industry that frequently relegated black performers to minor or stereotypical parts. Yet, he refused to be confined by these limitations, choosing projects that carried meaning and allowed him to bring authenticity to the screen. His dedication to meaningful storytelling extended beyond acting. He co-wrote the anti-war folk song, Handsome Johnny, with musician Richie Havens in 1966, which became an anthem for the Vietnam War protest movement. This showed his commitment to using his platform for social change, a theme that would continue throughout his career. His major breakthrough came in 1977 when he portrayed Fiddler in the television miniseries Roots, one of the most significant television events in American history. The series, based on Alex Haley's novel tracing the lineage of an enslaved African family, was a cultural phenomenon, forcing American audiences to confront the realities of slavery. Gossett's performance as Fiddler, a wise but weary mentor figure to Kunta Kinte, was widely praised and earned him an Emmy Award. His portrayal was deeply moving, capturing both the pain and resilience of a man caught in the brutal system of slavery. The role propelled him into the spotlight, making him a household name and proving that black actors could carry serious, impactful roles on television. Building on this newfound prominence, he reached another milestone in 1982 when he starred as Gunnery Sergeant Emil Foley in An Officer and a Gentleman. His commanding performance as the tough but principled drill instructor won him the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor, making him the first black male to win in that category, and only the third black actor in history to win an Oscar for acting. His portrayal of Foley, a relentless but ultimately fair mentor, was a defining moment in his career, showcasing his ability to balance intensity with humanity. The film's success further cemented his place in Hollywood, proving that he could hold his own alongside major stars like Richard Gere. Following his Oscar win, Gossett took on a series of military roles that capitalized on his authoritative presence. He starred in Iron Eagle, 1986, a high-energy action film in which he played Colonel Chappie Sinclair, a no-nonsense Air Force pilot. The film became a cult favorite, leading to 3 sequels. This role made him an action star, expanding his appeal to mainstream audiences. In 1989, he co-starred with Dolph Lundgren in The Punisher, a film adaptation of the Marvel Comics anti-hero. Though the film had mixed reviews, Gossett's presence added gravitas to the action-heavy production, proving his versatility across genres. Despite his success in action films, Gossett never strayed far from meaningful roles that addressed social issues. He continued to act in projects that explored themes of race, justice, and perseverance. His deep, authoritative voice also made him a sought-after talent in animation and video games, lending his voice to Batman, the animated series, the popular video game Half-Life 2, and Stargate SG-1. His ability to bring characters to life with just his voice demonstrated his range as a performer and allowed him to reach audiences in new ways. Throughout the late 1990s and early 2000s, he remained active in film and television. He appeared in Left Behind, World at War, 2005, playing a fictional U.S. president in a dystopian setting. He also starred in various television roles, continuing to work consistently even as younger actors began to dominate Hollywood. His contributions to entertainment extended beyond acting. He worked on commercials, including a series for Namibian beer Windhoek in 2008, and narrated the audiobook version of 12 Years a Slave, further using his voice to bring historical narratives to new audiences. Even in his later years, he remained relevant, appearing in The Good Fight, a legal drama that addressed contemporary political and social issues. His ability to adapt to changing times and remain a respected presence in the industry was a testament to his talent, work ethic, and the groundbreaking path he had paved for Black actors in Hollywood. Louis Gossett Jr.'s journey in Hollywood was marked not only by groundbreaking achievements, but also by persistent challenges, from racial discrimination to personal struggles with health and career setbacks. As a Black actor in a predominantly white industry, he faced systemic barriers that limited opportunities even at the height of his success. Despite winning an Academy Award, an honor that should have catapulted him into the same league as his white counterparts, he found that major leading roles remained elusive. Hollywood's reluctance to offer substantial parts to Black actors kept him confined to certain character archetypes, forcing him to be selective in his choices. From the beginning of his career, he encountered racism firsthand. Early on, he was often typecast in roles that reinforced stereotypes, and the industry's reluctance to give Black actors leading parts meant that he had to work twice as hard to prove his talent. Even after his Oscar win for An Officer and a Gentleman in 1982, he saw far fewer offers than his white co-stars. Unlike many white actors who received multiple high-profile projects following award recognition, Gossett struggled to find roles that matched his abilities. Hollywood's ingrained bias became clear. While Black actors could be honored, they were still not given the same level of access to long-term success. Beyond racial challenges, he also endured personal struggles, particularly with his health. On February 9, 2010, Gossett publicly announced that he had been diagnosed with prostate cancer. Fortunately, the disease was detected early, and he expressed confidence in making a full recovery. His diagnosis, however, brought attention to a much larger issue: the disproportionate impact of prostate cancer on Black men. Studies had shown that African American men faced a higher risk of developing and dying from the disease, yet healthcare disparities often led to late diagnoses and insufficient treatment options. Gossett used his platform to raise awareness about early detection, advocating for improved healthcare access in Black communities. His career also saw him taking on controversial roles that stirred debate. In 2013, he starred in Boiling Pot, a film that tackled the realities of racism on college campuses during the 2008 U.S. presidential election. The film aimed to expose the persistence of racial tensions in supposedly progressive environments, a topic that remained sensitive and polarizing. When the film was released in 2014, it sparked discussions about the extent of racism in modern America. Some praised its raw and unfiltered approach, while others criticized its depiction of race relations. By choosing to participate in such a politically charged project, Gossett demonstrated his willingness to address difficult social issues through his work, even at the risk of controversy. Despite his commitment to meaningful storytelling, he found that as he aged, the industry became increasingly reluctant to cast older black actors in substantial roles. While his white contemporaries continued to find steady work in high-profile projects, he often had to rely on smaller roles, voice acting, and independent films to maintain his career. Hollywood's tendency to sideline veteran black actors was not unique to him, but reflected a broader issue in the entertainment industry, where diversity was still a challenge despite decades of progress. Financial struggles also became a reality. In 2016, reports surfaced that he had encountered financial difficulties, something that many black actors of his generation experienced due to the lack of consistent opportunities in an industry that failed to fully embrace them. Unlike white actors who could sustain long, lucrative careers after an Academy Award win, black actors like Gossett often found themselves battling for visibility even after proving their talent. Louis Gossett Jr.'s marital history reflects the complex intersection of personal relationships and the demands of an entertainment career. Each of his 3 marriages occurred at different points in his professional trajectory, influenced by his rising stardom, work pressures, and the challenges that came with fame. His first marriage to Hattie Glasgow remains largely undocumented, which suggests that it was a brief and perhaps relatively private chapter of his life. Given the lack of public details, it is possible that this early marriage took place before he became a major Hollywood figure, during a time when he was still shaping his identity in the entertainment industry. Many actors who experience sudden professional success often struggle to maintain personal stability, and it is likely that Gossett's early career ambitions played a role in the dissolution of this marriage. His second marriage to Christina Mangosing in 1973 coincided with a significant turning point in his career. By this time, he had transitioned from being a Broadway actor to an increasingly recognizable face in television and film. The early 1970s were a transformative era for black actors in Hollywood, with more roles opening up, but still far from being equitable. Gossett was steadily climbing the ranks, taking on roles that challenged stereotypes and earned him respect as a serious performer. The birth of his son Satie in 1974 marked an important milestone in his life, but balancing fatherhood with a rapidly expanding career would have been challenging. By 1975, the marriage ended, and though the reasons for the divorce were not made public, one can speculate that the instability that came with a rising career may have played a part. For an actor like Gossett, who was still fighting for substantial roles and carving out a space for himself in Hollywood, long working hours, filming schedules, and the unpredictability of the industry could have placed strain on his marriage. This period was immediately followed by one of the biggest turning points in his career, his iconic role in Roots, 1977, which required an immense amount of time, dedication, and emotional investment. The timing suggests that his professional commitments may have overshadowed his personal life, a common struggle for actors who experience rapid career growth. After more than a decade, Gossett remarried, this time to Cindy James Reese, a Star Search champion, on December the 25th, 1987. This marriage took place during what was arguably the peak of his Hollywood career. He had won an Academy Award in 1982 for An Officer and a Gentleman, cementing his place in Hollywood history. This period would have offered him greater financial and career security compared to his earlier years, yet it also came with new pressures. The expectation to maintain his success and navigate an industry that still had limited leading roles for black actors. During this marriage, Gossett and Reese adopted a son, Sharon, reflecting his commitment to family despite the turbulence of his personal life. Adoption is a significant and deeply personal decision, often requiring emotional and financial stability, which suggests that at this point in his life, Gossett was making a conscious effort to establish a lasting family unit. However, by 1992, the marriage had ended in divorce. While the specific reasons remain private, the pressures of Hollywood, differences in lifestyle, and the demands of an entertainment career likely played a role. Marriage in the public eye comes with unique challenges, especially for someone of Gossett's stature, and maintaining a healthy relationship while managing the expectations of fame can be difficult. Throughout all three marriages, Gossett experienced the common struggle of balancing personal relationships with a high-profile career. His divorces reflect a pattern seen in many actors' lives, where professional demands, long working hours, and the instability of Hollywood lifestyles often create obstacles in sustaining lasting marriages. Despite these challenges, he remained devoted to his children, ensuring that they were raised with the same values of resilience and perseverance that had defined his own journey. Louis Gossett Jr.'s life was shaped not only by his marriages and family, but also by the many influential relationships he built throughout his career. His collaborations with actors, writers, and directors were instrumental in shaping both his artistic journey and his legacy as a respected figure in Hollywood. He worked closely with some of the most legendary names in the industry, forming friendships and professional bonds that extended beyond the screen. From his early years on Broadway, he shared the stage with trailblazing black performers like James Earl Jones, Cicely Tyson, and Maya Angelou in The Blacks, an off-Broadway play that ran for an impressive 1,400 performances. These collaborations placed him in the company of artists who, like him, were pushing against Hollywood's racial barriers. Working alongside these figures not only cemented his place in theater, but also connected him to a broader movement advocating for better representation of black actors in the industry. His time on Broadway also allowed him to learn from stage veterans and refine his craft, which later translated into his ability to deliver powerful screen performances. In Hollywood, his friendships extended to influential directors and co-stars who helped shape his career. His working relationship with Sidney Poitier was particularly significant. Starring alongside Poitier in A Raisin in the Sun, both on stage and in the 1961 film adaptation, gave him valuable exposure and insight from one of the most groundbreaking black actors in Hollywood at the time. Poitier, who was the first black actor to win an Academy Award for Best Actor, became a symbol of perseverance and success for Gossett. This experience working with Poitier likely influenced his own approach to navigating an industry that remained resistant to diversity. His career-defining role in Roots, 1977, introduced him to an ensemble cast of notable actors including LeVar Burton, Ben Vereen, and John Amos. The intensity and historical significance of the project forged a deep bond between the cast members, who shared the responsibility of telling a painful yet essential chapter of black history. Gossett's portrayal of Fiddler was pivotal, and his interactions with his fellow actors brought a profound emotional depth to the series. Roots was more than just a production. It was a cultural milestone, and the relationships he formed during that time remained significant throughout his career. Beyond acting, Gossett was a prominent advocate for racial equality in Hollywood, frequently working alongside activists and fellow entertainers who sought to improve conditions for black artists. He was deeply involved in mentorship, supporting young black actors who followed in his footsteps, just as those before him had done for him. His presence in the industry was not just about his own success, it was about paving the way for future generations. Throughout his career, he also engaged with pop culture and media in unexpected ways. In 1997, he took on a completely different role as the host of When Animals Attack 4 on Fox. This demonstrated his willingness to step outside of dramatic roles and engage with mainstream audiences in a more entertaining and lighthearted capacity. His involvement in such a production showed that despite being a serious and accomplished actor, he was not afraid to explore different aspects of television, proving his versatility. In 2005, he played a fictional U.S. President Gerald Fitzhugh in Left Behind, World at War. This role was particularly significant as it placed him in a leadership position within a dystopian storyline, showcasing his ability to command the screen in a role that was typically reserved for white actors. His portrayal of a black president in a high-stakes, world-ending scenario was a reflection of shifting attitudes in Hollywood, though such roles remained rare for black actors at the time. Later in his career, his deep appreciation for film history and storytelling was recognized when he was invited as a guest programmer on Turner Classic Movies in 2016. Given the opportunity to curate a selection of films, he chose Blackboard Jungle, Lifeboat, Touch of Evil, and The Night of the Hunter. Each of these films carried thematic weight, exploring social issues, moral dilemmas, and human resilience, qualities that had defined many of Gossett's own roles. His participation in this program reflected not just his love for cinema, but also his deep understanding of the craft and its impact on culture. Beyond professional relationships, he was also known for his generosity and mentorship within the industry. Many younger actors credited him for offering guidance and encouragement, especially black performers navigating Hollywood's challenges. His ability to connect with both his peers and the next generation of artists ensured that his legacy would continue beyond his own body of work. Louis Gossett Jr. His later years were marked by significant health challenges, reflecting the resilience he had displayed throughout his life. In the 1990s and early 2000s, he endured a debilitating illness that severely impacted his well-being. At one point, doctors even gave him a grim prognosis, estimating he had only 6 months to live. However, in 2001, he discovered that much of his health decline was due to toxic mold exposure in his Malibu home. The revelation provided some clarity, allowing him to seek proper medical intervention and regain control of his health. This battle with illness underscored his enduring strength as he once again fought against adversity, just as he had done throughout his career. On February 9, 2010, Gossett publicly announced that he had been diagnosed with prostate cancer. The disease had been detected in its early stages, and he expressed confidence in making a full recovery. His openness about his diagnosis was not only a personal acknowledgement, but also a way to bring awareness to prostate cancer, particularly within the black community, where the disease disproportionately affects men at higher rates. By sharing his experience, he encouraged early screenings and medical vigilance, using his voice to advocate for better healthcare awareness. In late December 2020, as the COVID-19 pandemic continued to affect millions worldwide, Gossett was hospitalized in Georgia after contracting the virus. Given his age and previous health issues, the situation was concerning, but he managed to recover. However, the impact of COVID-19 on his already weakened respiratory system likely contributed to the complications he would later face. On March 29, 2024, Louis Gossett Jr. passed away at the age of 87 at a rehabilitation center in Santa Monica, California. His official cause of death was chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, COPD, a progressive lung disease that affects breathing. Additionally, heart failure and atrial fibrillation were cited as contributing factors. His passing marked the end of a remarkable life, one filled with groundbreaking achievements, industry-defining performances, and a lasting impact on Hollywood and beyond. Following his death, Gossett was cremated according to his death certificate, marking a simple but dignified farewell for a man whose legacy would continue through his work and the barriers he had broken in the entertainment industry. His influence on film, television, and theater, as well as his commitment to social justice and mentorship, ensured that his name would not be forgotten. His passing was mourned by fans, fellow actors, and those who had been inspired by his resilience and determination, leaving behind a legacy that transcended his roles on screen.